But this is the first time in quite some time that even I feel really good about the future of our program because it's run by Mike Elko.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into TexAgs Rewind, presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. I'm David Nuno. We've got Juan Palomo over there at the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Gosh, I said that bad. Carson Stein is in the house. More on him in a moment. And of course, God bless, I can't speak English. Nick Savage behind the glass. All right, guys, what was your favorite part, Carson?
Trey Wallace.
Trey was good.
He was good.
I changed his mind.
David Nuno, certified mind changer.
Yeah, I did. What about for you, Juan?
I really like Gabe Bach. I mean,
Okay.
you know,
I
he's
figured
talking
you'd
about
say
the last
that,
13
yeah.
years of TexAgs.
No, he talked about you. That's why you made it about you.
Okay, I
Yeah.
don't want to bring up that story.
Fired for
Yeah.
not talking about the new host.
Yeah, I mean,
the current host.
Well, I mean, current, like it could end.
No, you're currently the host, are you not?
Nick?
Jamie Uyeyama. Is that how you
Uyeyama,
say it?
The Notre Dame insider.
Oh, yeah.
He was good. And we also celebrated 13 years of this show. Nick, can TexAgs make it 14 years? TexAgs Radio,
Well,
excuse
yeah,
me.
I was about to say TexAgs isn't going
Can
anywhere.
TexAgs Radio make it 14 years?
I don't know. I don't know if it will be alive much longer.
What? I'm confused.
What could you mean by that, Nick?
Check it. Here's the rewind.
I know we're on that perpetual cycle as Aggie fans. You know, we're in that build-up phase
Yep.
where we're all expectations probably get too high, unrealistic, unfair. But this is the first time in quite some time that even I feel really good about the future of our program because it's run by Mike Elko. I feel like there's actual substance there.
Yep.
He has the ability from the leadership perspective, but then also the X's and O perspective that I felt like we've lacked. And then the people below him, though we have not seen this yet, we'll find out very soon. But I do have a strong belief in the assistants on this staff compared to previous ones.
100%.
Right?
That's the biggest difference I think that people don't talk about. Like, I didn't have a lot of trust in the old assistants, especially the last couple of years. I'll do what I did with OB. I feel good at quarterback. Okay.
Yeah.
I feel they're going to be better on the offensive line regardless.
Yeah.
Okay. Defensive line, we already know they're going to eat. Right?
Very
and the secondary is absolutely going to be better. And that team last year, couple plays away from actually having a 9-win season. Like literally, couple plays. Special teams, 1,000% will be better.
Yeah. I mean, they were the best. What was our record last year? 5-7, 6-6. Yeah, 7-5, whatever it was. I mean, it's going to be one of the best teams from a ability perspective that you've ever seen. I mean, it was the biggest underperforming team that you've had in a while. But to your point, the question marks are going to be offensive line, but it can't get worse. I think a lot of us have the expectation that they could sneak in and be a pretty solid offensive line.
Yep.
And you have a quarterback that historically has done two things really well that no one talks about. This is very important in my opinion when you look at Connor is he doesn't turn the ball over and he doesn't take sacks.
Yep.
People, they just gloss over all of the stats and they go to yards, production, touchdowns, and they forget about sacks and how important that is when you're evaluating quarterback. You look at the great ones at the upper echelon, the Mannings and the Bradys, they don't take sacks. They put their team in a position to be successful. They don't turn the football over, and yet they also produce. And that's what Connor does, and that's why I love him. And I get so much hate from even my fellow Aggies that say, Connor's just not that good. Like, I don't see it. And I'm telling you, and
You and Jordan Rogers see it.
I could be wrong. I could be wrong. But I would, based on what I have seen, when the lights come on, that kid is special. And I have not seen a quarterback at that level not take sacks like he does. I think he's going to be good.
We feel like there's enough talent and the right coaches to be better than that.
I think Texas A&M fans are tired of the expectations being 8-4
Right.
from somebody like me. And I totally agree. You look at last season, if coaching didn't go to hell in a handbasket inside those rooms and on that field, absolutely Texas A&M, I think, wins one or two more games. Should have been Tennessee. I mean, my goodness, look what their offense was trying to do with Joe Milton.
Yep.
So I don't disagree with it. Even the Miami game, there were a couple of coaching decisions to me that, okay, I'm scratching my head here. What the hell is going on? Why is there not some type of unification in that room and on the sidelines from the offensive standpoint? To me, that's what threw me off about last season. I think this season does give the opportunity to correct a lot of wrongs. And even with a completely new coaching staff, I still think there's that opportunity. And again, you say, okay, well, it's Texas A&M and blah, blah, blah. Like, I look at Texas A&M and I think, okay, this should be a 10-2 fighting for the playoffs every season. I remember talking with you last year before the season started, and I said if Texas A&M is not in playoff contention by the first week of November, they're going to have to make a move at the coaching spot, because the expectations in College Station are to not be having to make those type of decisions in the first week of November and people throwing up their hands and saying, okay, we're done here. Like, first off, the fans deserve it. Second of all, I think there is enough support in that administration over there and the changes that they have made in the athletic department. Your football is good, okay, from a support standpoint. And then you look at the coaching staff compared to what they had last year. And I know they had some good coaches, but the problem last year is, man, when you're not working together, it affects the players on the field as well.
I think Texas A&M, just my opinion, just looking at the roster, just absolutely loaded, just night and day compared to the athletes at Texas A&M and Duke overall. I think it's going to be a scary team for a lot of teams in the SEC to play against. But I think early on, there's going to be questions about still with the offensive line, because not that I don't expect Texas A&M's offensive line to be better, but it's a new group working in new spots and all that, and there's going to be kind of questions there. I don't think the difference. Like I said, I don't know if there's going to be too many offenses this year that really have that much success against Notre Dame's defense. At least putting up big points. It's going to, I think the one thing last year in that Duke game for Notre Dame was they had nothing at receiver. Like, they had 3 healthy receivers that they could play, and like 2 of those guys aren't with the program anymore. Like, they aren't guys that, and frankly, they wouldn't start for Notre Dame this year. They might not even crack the 2 deep, to be honest. So I think that's a little bit different. I also think Leonard, what he can do is, like, just like in that game, you can bottle him up the whole game, and then his legs can just buy them something extra there, right? So that's the one thing that I think, if I'm looking at it from, a comparative perspective, I think one of the reasons why, really the only reason why Duke was in the game at the end was because of Riley Leonard and his legs, really. And now that I think Notre Dame having that is, especially with their offensive line, I think it's going to be very valuable in this game. And it's why I think it's going to be a tight game, and he will always be able to keep them in it, even if their offense is struggling the whole game.
Give me some position groups where you think A&M's got the advantage and where Notre Dame might have this advantage a week from now.
Listen, I think it's cliche, but I think the game, and this is like 90% of football games at all levels, but listen, I think the game will be decided along the lines. We know that Texas A&M, the defensive line should be an area of strength. There's a lot of depth back that didn't transfer out in the Jimbo Fisher transition. And Mike Elko's obviously a great defensive coach as well. That, as we talked about the last few weeks, Notre Dame, I think we just assume that they just churn out these offensive linemen. But, it is worth noting, obviously, you lose the top 10 pick in Joe Alt, and then, oh, by the way, after that, you also obviously lost the starter earlier in fall camp for the season. So I don't think it's this, gimme, they just have 5 NFL first-round picks on their roster every single year. And then the other key one to me, and I haven't heard a lot of people talk about this, so Riley Leonard, what I would say is, and you always feel bad criticizing too hard a 21, 22-year-old kid coming off of an injury, but I think the idea of Riley Leonard, in my opinion, might be a little bit better than what Riley Leonard is in actuality. Struggled a little bit last year. The numbers weren't on track to be as good as 2022. Now, admittedly, of course, he had a brutal, awful season-ending injury. But this is the part that I don't think people have talked about is, no meaningful snaps since October. And beyond that, he missed all of spring practice while recovering from the surgery. So it's not like, he had separated his shoulder on Thanksgiving weekend, missed the game and was back for spring ball ready to go. It's been a long time since he's seen live snaps. And again, this is a quarterback that has his strengths and weaknesses, but I don't know that he's a guy that you just automatically default to, oh, he's just going to pick up right where he left off. So obviously, again, the line play is key, but I just think a rusty Riley Leonard, which sounds weird to say, I think is intriguing to me, especially on the road, because I know Notre Dame fan would counter, what about Connor Wigman? But at least Connor Wigman's got 100,000 people behind him.
All right, we're going to close it out. Two things we have to do. We'll let Juan close it out in a second. But Carson, today's your last day with TexAgs Radio, right?
Yep.
But he is still a part of the family.
Production.
Production value.
Key piece.
Brian Broadcasting. You're probably going to call all of our guests from Brian Broadcasting early and be like, you ready to go on with David? You're going to do it, right?
If
I'll
the
try
bumper
something like
music sucks, you got to complain about Carson. It's him. It's
not
all
me
him.
picking the music.
Yeah.
It is Nick Savage's playlist, so keep that in mind.
And he put some really good music. Well, we love you, brother. Thanks so much for working with us, and I know you'll be back, all right?
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
Juan, tell the people what to do. What were you looking at? You were looking down
I was
left.
looking. I was looking at myself. I had to make sure my hair
What?
was all right.
Wait, you can see yourself?
Yeah. Well, now I can.
You were doing your hair during a show? Do you think your dad
You
or your
don't?
uncle would do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Yeah.
Yeah, disregard. Me too, by the way. Anyway, tell the people what to do. Oh, this is great. I love it. I love when this happens.
Just
every time.
absolutely
It's
frozen.
every time.
Tell
This is
the
my
people.
first time.
Yeah.
What
Crowd
do you usually
pulse.
do with a YouTube video?
Is all the way up.
Wow, the pulse meter is high.
Hey, no pressure.
Yeah. That's.
What do you think you're supposed to do when you watch a YouTube video? What are the
Oh.
people always tell you to do?
Make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the next video
And comment.
and comment.
Tell your friends.
and
Tell your
share.
friends. Share.
Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.